Hi everybody, I'm Mike Baird, and I'm a serious gear lover. So if you're serious about gear like I am, you're going to want to watch this episode of Mike's Drum Cubby. Hey Cubbers, if this is your first time with us, the Cubby is about this vast collection of gear I have, but the stuff I usually use the most, plus additional gear that I've added to my collection, and also reviewing new stuff is not a part of my collection, at least not yet. So if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment. But for now, let's get to the drum. The Olympic! This drum at the time was inexpensive, so I bought it. It was on eBay. They're not so cheap now. I saw one the other day, and they're going for good money if they're in good shape. This one was in good shape, no separations. The edges needed to be cleaned up a little bit, so I took them to my tech, Chris. And what a little gem this drum turned out to be. I did, however, change the heads and the snare wires on it. Olympic was Premier's entry-level drum line. You know, it's a little student drum. It has a lot of character for what it is. For the price I paid for it anyway. It's surprising how much it gets used. It's 6 lugs. Drum sounds best in the mid and higher tunings. In those tunings, it has a really nice mid-range. Here's the logo, the throw-off, the butt end, and the lug. Olympic. Here we have the Olympic 5.5 by 14. That's about at the bottom of the range, but you know, hey, that's where we're starting with it anyway. All right, so we got the Olympic. This is the high tuning, at least where I would put it. You might want to take it higher if you have one, but that's where I like it. Hey, we're back. Anybody want to guess the weight of the drum? 5 pounds, 3 ounces. Well, this story kind of reminded me of this drum for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe it's the finish. One of my mentors was Jack Sperling. Very great big band drummer. If you don't know who he is, you should look him up. He was known to be in Les Brown and his Band of Renown. Big band. Great drummer, fantastic drummer. And in fact, you can, on YouTube, there's a Steve Allen variety show. And Steve Allen was a comedian in the 50s and 60s and maybe even the 40s, I don't know, 70s. Anyway, he had a variety show and Les Brown was the band. And they did most of the stuff there live. And Tony Bennett sings a great thing. So you can look under Tony Bennett and Steve Allen. And you'll hear Jack play. Fantastic big band drummer. Anyway, at the time when I met Jack, I was going to LA City College. And LA City College here was a junior college. And they were known for their big bands. And I wanted to be in the big band. They had an A band and a B band. And they used to win all these contests from all the other colleges, even big universities. They would kill them. And there was a reason why they would do so well. But that's another story. Anyway, like I said, they had an A band and a B band. I was in the B band, and I barely made the B band. And if you saw the movie Whiplash, that's basically me. It was hard for me to watch. At the end of when I was done with LA City College, I didn't play some major drum solo, and I didn't get a trophy, and I didn't get a cymbal or a chair thrown at me, but was browbeating on a daily basis every day that I was there. So say the least, anyway, I wound up being able to meet Jack Sperling. Jack Sperling at the time was doing the Dean Martin show and also Laugh-In. And they were doing it at NBC Studios, where Leno did his show and Johnny Carson and so forth and so on. And I would do anything to get down to watch this guy. So, I mean, I barely had, what they say, 2 nickels to rub together to get gasoline or food. But I would do anything to get down there on my days off from school to watch him play. And I got to sit like really in between him, watching him, the bass player, horns were kind of back behind me, and the conductor. It was amazing. And the lead-in to that, of meeting Jack, was the percussionist in that band at NBC was a guy named Wally Snow. It just so happened that Wally Snow had gone to my high school way before I did, but anyway, that was kind of weird, kind of odd, but that was my lead-in to meeting Jack. So Jack was just so generous to me with his time and everything else, and I literally wanted to be Jack. And what's interesting, if we back out of this just for a second, years prior, a good friend of mine, who wound up being a really well-known engineer at Disney, had gotten a tape recorder and put it in a little suitcase and rigged up a remote switch and a microphone, and we would go around like Knott's Berry Farm or places, and we would record people, and they wouldn't even know they were being recorded. Well, I bought one of these reel-to-reel tape recorders, and you'll know what this is. It's called a Craig 212 tape recorder, and if you saw the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Leonardo DiCaprio rehearses his lines on one of those tape recorders. So they didn't have small cassettes, and they didn't have, now you have an iPhone, you can record anything. But back then, that's what we had to have. So he rigged me up this deal, and one of these little kids' suitcases, painted it black, cut a hole in the top, put the microphone up at the top, put a remote switch, you'd put it in record, you'd close the box, and then you could turn it on and off from this remote switch. Well, I took that down to these things at NBC, and I would record Jack. And then I would go home and listen to it and like play to it and, try to mimic it. And then when the show would air on TV, I would also mimic that and go over it again. So anyway, he was so generous with his time, and it really made a difference at LA City. I wound up actually doing well in the B band, and then I fell out of love with school and dropped out and figured, it was more to my benefit that I actually start playing more, doing more casuals and playing live gigs and doing that than going to college. Anyway, that's my story of that deal. So anyway, we come to another end of an episode of Mike's Drum Cubby. And if you like the channel, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment, and what do we say?
And that's it.
And we'll see you in a minute.